Well, it says I'm live. See, my hair is flying all over the place. I had to prepare my hair a little bit and get get my drink of my beverage this morning to get me started. And I hope everybody's doing good out there. We're back up here in the shop this morning. And as you see, I've got something different behind me. What I've got is a 98 Jaguar X8K or XK8. Um, it's one that we're working on for my brother-in-law. He bought this one new. It's a really nice car. It's a really nice car. It's good and clean. But I think he's going to clean it up and sell it and see what else he can. Well, he has plenty of other vehicles too. He has a motor home and a couple other cars he has. I think he's looking for a new tow vehicle to put behind his camper right now. Well, I mean, let's see if we can get some people in here. Not very active this morning yet. Hopefully, we can get a few on and we can start chatting and seeing what's on everybody's mind this morning. As you may have noticed on my intro, on my title, we've had some crazy situations, even in this small town that I live in, whereas we get involved with. Well, hey, you might know the first one I get is from Austria. How are you, Patrick? I hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well out there. I've been watching you online and everything, talking about the big machines you're working on, or you and your dad, and all kind of stuff. Trying to keep up with you on Facebook when I see you posting and all that sort of stuff. So it's good to keep up with everybody the best we can. Hope you're doing well. How's everything over in your country? The weather's starting to change here. I think we're about like Austria and everything as far as you organized some of your pullers, did you? Okay. Yeah, I think we're weather-wise, I think we're about the same. I had some friends that lived in that area, and they talked about where I live here in the Piedmont of the Carolinas. The weather and the climate and everything seems to be about like Austria. Whoops, sorry about that. Did not know that. I did not know that compressor was on. Don't want that making a racket. That thing sure is. Yeah, that, as you can tell, that old thing is loud. It's really loud. Hey, Fleet Tech, how are you? Are you back down in Atlanta area, Fleet Tech? Um, yeah, yeah. As I was saying, I had a friend that was telling me that the weather was about the same here in the Piedmont of the Carolinas as it was in the part of Austria that they lived in, and so I think as far as the climate and everything, we're close to the same. You probably get a little bit more snow and everything. I don't know how much snow you get where you're at. We don't get much snow. They do up in the higher elevations, but we're in the Piedmont. Got to get some more toolboxes. Well, don't go out there and spend the everything you have on toolboxes. I don't know how bad expensive they are over there. And what kind of toolboxes do you like? Do y'all don't have Snap-on over there, do you? Snap-on and Mac and all that. But you probably, I guess, Gador and some of them probably have toolboxes too, don't they? and I know they probably have some good machinist toolboxes. Yeah, just toolboxes are a funny thing. I mean, some people really want to put the money into toolboxes. I'm not one to want to put that much money. I mean, I want a decent toolbox, but I don't have to have one that's super slidey. Yeah. 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 You know, when you get into the heavy duty, you do need a good one for heavy duty tools. And I usually have a decent one for the heaviest of tools. But, you know, for the general, the 3/4 inch and under wrenches, you don't have to have a heavy box, I don't think. I mean, but when you start loading it up and putting too much stuff in one, I mean, I would just rather have multiple boxes, spread it out a little bit more, and not overload the box. Of course, you got to have space to be able to do that. Not everybody has space. Hey, Jamie, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Are you back down in Florida? Or are you back up north? Yeah, well, a ton of tools requires a good many boxes. I have probably 25 toolboxes. I've got a lot of toolboxes. Yeah. Yeah, it's good to, you know, everybody's got their own organization of what they need for your toolboxes and everything. And, you know, like I said, I would hate to waste all my money on one. Hey, Aaron, how are you? I'm doing fine. I hope you're doing fine too. Yeah. Uh, it's just, you know, so many people, and I've seen a lot of people that have just gone overly in debt for a toolbox and, you know, spend way. I mean, when you sit down and analyze what goes into the toolbox, can you justify as much money as some of these toolbox people are asking? I mean, that's their big profit though. I mean, Snap-on, I mean, they get rich off toolbox. Hey, Ag Tech, I haven't seen you in a while. Yep. Happy Thanksgiving to all the Canadian friends. Y'all's Thanksgiving's this month, isn't it? I don't know exactly when, but yeah, I knew your Thanksgiving's about a month ahead of ours. Ours was in November, and I think yours is in October. But uh, I think yours is at around equinox, isn't it? Around the when the fall kicks in, y'all have uh, uh, Thanksgiving. Yeah, yeah. We got Patrick in here and Jamie in here and Fleet Net, Aaron. We got a bunch of people jumping in. Oh, it's this weekend, is it? Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that's great. Yeah, our Thanksgiving will be like November 24th or 5th or something like that. I don't know exactly what. Ours never falls on the same day. I mean, not the same date. It's not a specific date like Christmas. It's always the fourth Thursday in the month. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Patrick's getting a lot more toolboxes and tools and everything else. Well, how's your? I guess you've been busy all summer long getting everything ready for harvest, and now you're going to be called on. I'm talking to Ag Tech. I guess now you'll be, you know, working hard just to keep up with everybody that breaks down their combines and everything else. Hey, Aloysius. Oh, I know it. I don't want to spend 50,000 on a toolbox. Like I have some friends that have that much in them. Yeah, well, that's good that they're not that expensive. I mean, you know, I like having a quality toolbox, but I don't want to have one that, like I said, I mean, my first house wasn't $50,000, and now you got people buying toolboxes for that. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I just can't see it. And we have to do what we have to do, but we don't have we don't have to break the bank with a toolbox. That's for sure. So I'm yeah. Snap-on doesn't exist there. Yeah. Well, the old school German tool makers are really good. I wish we had some of that real convenient to us here. I mean, I wouldn't complain a bit about going with the old style German toolboxes and everything else probably because I imagine their craftsmanship is pretty darn good. I know, everything craft wise that comes from Germany and Austria and everything's been pretty neat. I mean, I've got a BMW car. I mean, that's of course it's made in Greer, South Carolina, uh, but the engineering was designed in uh, you know Germany or Austria or somewhere. I don't know where BMW is exactly home. You tell me. I don't know where the home base for BMW is. Yeah, yeah, Godor and yeah, and Nipix. I got several Nipix pliers and everything. They're really well built. Hey, Walter, you got a Matco double bay. You paid $2,500 for. Had a lifetime warranty since. Yeah, well, that's good. Now that's about to me. That's about what you need. I've got a Homark that's pretty good. I got a Homark that's pretty good toolbox. I've got a Snap-on. I've got a couple Macs. I've got some Huskies, um, and that's Huskies about as cheap as I get. And I've got plenty of those. I got a lot of those when I was doing a lot of my purchasing. Basically, I was getting them through my American Express bonus points and everything, and wait until they went on sale. In Germany, okay. Yeah, I thought it was, but yeah, they got a huge plant just about 90 miles from here, down in Greer, South Carolina, and that's where I got two X5s, and that's where both of those were made. And it's a well built car. I really love them. I got the diesels and both of them. I got two X5 BMWs. I got a 2015 and a 2018, and both of them have I think it's about a 3-liter diesel. Oh, I know it. I know. Snap-on has gotten outrageous. I mean, they're you gotta you got to look at what they call the ROI, return on investment, and can you get your money back out of some of this stuff that Snap-on is trying to sell you? That's the problem. That's the issue. Yeah. Eh, you can't justify. I can't justify spending that much money when you can put that. I would rather put it in the tools themselves. And there again, I don't always want to buy Snap-on tools. There are certain times that I know that the tool is necessary, but not going to be a necessary evil to have at all times. So I'll buy a cheaper tool just to get it bought, and then uh, not buy the Snap-on. Of course, if I want something that's more accurate, I'll go with the Snap-on or a Mac or a Snap-on. Snap-on's probably the preference for the hand tools. When it comes to hand tools, they're not they're hard to be beat. Now, when it comes to electronic tools, now they're not. I mean, they're not even close to what Milwaukee and DeWalt and some of the rest of them are. Hey, James, how are you? Hey, Cincinnati, Ohio, are you, Kevin? Okay, good. You on the road again, are you? Yeah, I've seen the stall tools before. I think I have some. I have some of those, and I actually have. I was looking the other day. I have one or two Godor, and then I have some Williams, which is made by Snap-on, and some. I'm trying to think of other different brands. Well, that's good. Yeah, Stallwell. Yeah, that seems to be a nice tool. Also, you got your old Mac on the road. Well, fantastic. Now, what size? Now, that's what a C. That's a C7 you got engine, like a 350 or 427. Now, did you say it was a Vision? I couldn't. I can't remember. Wasn't it a Mac Vision? The body style and everything. Yeah, yeah. That. Oh yeah, yeah. Those my. I think didn't you say you had like a '06 or '07? You got one before it got to the '08, before it got to the real bad def and emissions and regens and everything else. You can work on that engine. You still got a Mac engine, not a Volvo engine. It's what you've got, and which is really good. E7, yeah, 460. Okay, you got a stout one there. That E7 460, that's the last of the Mohegan for Mac, as far as I'm concerned. Is that's a good engine, and after that, it's uh, they turn into Volvo engines, and they've got all the you'll have all kind of problems. Yep, stay off the truck. You can if you get on the truck, you'll uh, they might as well just hand over the billfold when they walk on the truck. I mean, it's good to view the truck, but don't get sucked into. If you have to get on the truck to make a payment each week, you're in trouble. I know there used to be a lot of people that were uh, kind of they had to take half their paycheck to pay the tool truck every week. I mean, it's pathetic. Some people just can't budget and don't know how to stay away from the tool truck, and then they get sucked in and they get back on to make the payment, and then they'll see something else, and then they'll change it around, and if they just realize how much, I mean, they're getting rich off the interest on those things. It's like 20% interest, I think, with Snap-on tools. It is not cheap. It's higher than most credit cards. So uh, if you're paying for Snap-on tools or Mac tools and some of these through the tool truck, you're not getting it cheap. Uh, they're not they're not selling you a $20 item and then letting you pay $1 a week, and then 20 weeks you'll have it paid. They're selling you a $20 item. You're going to pay $1 a week on it for the next 50 weeks. So in other words, you'll pay double, and that's what happens on a lot of that. Uh, Cost effective half-inch drive torque wrench. Well, there's a lot of people. Uh, it depends on what kind of work you're doing with it. I mean, are you doing real precision head work and stuff like that? Or are you just torquing bolts for a tire or something? I mean, it depends on what your need is. I mean, if you need something real machinist uh, accurate, then you need to get one of the best. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what I say. By people paying 50,000 for a toolbox, and it's a toolbox. I don't care how big and fancy it is, it's still a toolbox. I mean, I bought my house. I built my house. I'm talking about a 2,200 square foot house back in the 70s. I paid $55,000 for it, and it was custom built. Of course, then I remodeled it and spent twice that much on the remodel and everything. And of course, I got a lot. I got about a 6,000 square foot house now, but it's it is what it is. I would never put I would never put the value of a toolbox. I mean, you get a toolbox like that, and then a, a few years from now, that toolbox, even if you had 30, 40, $50,000 invested in it, it's going to be worth 10,000 at most, probably. I mean, that's how bad it's going to depreciate. Oh yeah, I'd rather have it in tools. Your tools, you're not going to lose on. I mean, of course, they're your individual tools. It's not one big item, and I think that, you're always going to have a good benefit with your tools, and you can justify a good tool. I mean, if it's a precision tool and you're wanting precision, it's you can justify that. They're the ones that make the money. That toolbox, that's a filing cabinet. That's it's however fancy of a filing cabinet you want. Now, some people think that it's the cat's meow to have the fancy toolbox, and I don't. I don't. It's just a cabinet. I mean, I want it to be neat. I want it to be where you can get to things. I want to be able to, like a file cabinet, have it function so you can find things. But as far as making that an essential tool, it's not that essential to me. Yeah. Yeah. I think you did well, Kevin. We're getting that 460. You're that engine is way less expensive to overhaul than the Cats and the Detroits. I mean, that's probably one of the least expensive engines to overhaul. When you have to go through that engine, you'll be pleasantly surprised. I mean, depends on who you get to do it now. But every Mac that I overhauled, and overhauled several, they they saved me a ton of money, probably 20% cheaper to do a Mac than it was a a Cat or a Detroit, especially a Cat. Cats are the most expensive to overhaul. Yeah, 572 miles, 572,000 miles on it. Rods and mains is about the only thing you need to put on it. Go through the lower end right now, and if everything else is doing fine, you'll be fine. I mean, of course, I wouldn't put rods and mains in it right now if I didn't have to. You could probably run it up to 800 before you had to put rods and mains. But that would be the first thing. Tighten up the engine with some rods and mains, and keep on trucking. Keep on letting that thing make you some money. Yeah. Well, any way you can get them, Aaron. Any way you can acquire your tools. I mean, that's the way to get it. And a lot of times you can get bargain basement things. People that don't want or returns or whatever. Uh, that's I go to auctions. I love going to auctions and buying up old tools and buying up good tools that people discard. I mean, I usually like to see the box of undisturbed tools that people kind of filter through a little bit, and they go, well, here's a screwdriver, here, wrench, and then you collectively add it up in your brain, or how much is this worth, and maybe buy the whole box for 10% of what a half of them are worth. And that's the way I like to do it. Hey, Joey, how are you? Hope you're doing fine. I hope your business venture is doing good for you. Joey owns a trailer park now, I guess. RV park is RV and trailer both. But you said it would have 150 units, 125, 150 units. Joey's going to be a big entrepreneur now and really get with it. Mobile home. Now you're just the manager, or I thought you were the owner. I thought you bought it. Or you're just the manager of it. You got 3,000 in your big torque wrenches only. Yeah, those big torque wrenches are expensive, that's for sure. Yeah, you get in something that for the big trucks and the torque wrenches for those can be very, very expensive. I know that firsthand. Okay, so you're just a manager caretaker. Okay, for some reason, I thought you said you bought it. But either way, you got a bigger responsibility. Yeah, you got a big responsibility if you've got that many units. Yeah. Well, maybe one day you'll own something like that. Yeah, if you take care of it and you're not having, are you still driving the buses a lot? Okay, you're not going. Okay, well, you answered my question as soon as I asking it there. Oh yeah, well, yeah, torquing it's a lot better. I mean, of course, you'll see a lot of people that feel like they know where their air guns are set, and that's what they'll torque things, and never torque a lug nut or anything. I know of plenty of people that do that. They torque it down with the air gun, and that's it. And you can get by with it, but it's not always the best way. I mean, each the first time you have a wheel run off, you'll know that you didn't do it right. That's for sure. And sometimes you'll stretch you'll get guys that'll stretch the nut. In other words, put too much pressure from the air wrench and actually stretch the threads on it. I've seen that happen too. So it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I mean, if you it always takes more time to do things right. Yeah. Well, that's about it. And not to say people don't get away with it, they do. I mean, I know people that have gotten away with that for years, and not to say that it's the right thing to do, but it is a practice that a lot of people do. But once they get themselves in trouble one time, then things may change. Yeah. Well, you've got to figure out what you're going to do for the longest period of time, if you're going to be a good mechanic or just a half-ass mechanic. Yeah. Well, yeah. Anytime you're doing machinist work like that with your heads and your bearings and everything else, yeah, you need to be torqued right. People that don't torque that, they're only fooling themselves. Yeah, you don't want you don't want to get in there doing motor work uh, without a torque wrench, and that's where some people do get themselves in trouble, and they'll over torque something and or under torque it for that matter. Either way, it needs to be proper clearance and everything, because those bearings and you know rods and mains and everything, they need to be right. I mean, you don't need to be doing guesswork on that. And if you're using an impact, you're doing guesswork. I mean, it's all right to run it down so you don't have to sit there and wrench it the whole way, but when you get it down close to where you need to be, you need to back off and then torque it. Yeah, yeah, and you don't want to cross. That's for sure. And you don't want to cross thread. You watch the good. I got a guy that's been with Detroit for probably 25, 26 years, and to watch him is amazing. He's very good motor man. Everything he sparingly uses his impacts on stuff. I mean, you see him torquing things. I mean, all the way even down to the valve covers and everything else. I mean, you can run stuff up. I mean, he uses his impact, but it's his impact, then his torque wrench and or his hand wrenches and stuff. He's not gonna get into the situation that he's stripping things off or over torquing things, because he definitely knows how to do it and do it right. He's been taught well, and to watch him will teach you how to do it right too. Yeah, yeah, I guess. Well, the thoughts of the I'm backing myself up to Jamie. Well, they say it's neck and neck in that Georgia Senate race. Uh, right now, from what I gather, it's whoever can sling the mud the worst. I mean, they're coming down hard and heavy on Herschel Walker. Uh, I really don't care about Herschel's social life. I mean, that's what so many people are worried about. They're trying to throw mud about him doing this and doing that and whatever. Uh, I think he's a decent person. He's probably as decent as anybody, and he's given a lot to charity and to charitable situations. And if you fault him because he's a Republican, and that's what seems to be the problem. The Democrats are just hard and heavy. They're going to try to put up all kind of mud on him, but I think he's a pretty good person. I'd like to see him in the Senate. I know the other guy is nothing but vote along with the liberals, and that's all he's going to do. And I'd like to get somebody to balance the equation out there. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's good. A Mack truck is one of the easiest to work on, and that one you've got, that like I said, that's the last of the Mohegans, as far as I'm concerned. That 460 E7 engine, you got you a good one there. If you got that low mileage like that, you got you a good truck, and hopefully it'll last a long time for you. And you can overhaul that thing two or three times. I had an E7 engine that I overhauled twice, put over 2.5 million miles on it, and it was still running good when I sold it. Oh, I hope Walker wins too, James. I hope Walker wins, and we got a tight race in North Carolina too for our Senate race. We got a, we got. I want to take control of the House and Senate and see if we can't rearrange this the crazy thing that the Democrats are doing to us right now. I mean, they're trying to spend our way out, and you can't do it. You can't spend our way. You can't spend your way to prosperity. You got to be able to manufacture some things. You got to be able to let capitalism work in the right way. You can't buy yourself into prosperity. Yeah, yeah. The Walker we're talking about is Herschel Walker, uh, Patrick. Herschel Walker, who used to play for the Dallas Cowboys, and he was a Heisman Trophy winner. He's a real humble guy, and he's running for Senate in Georgia, and he's running against a former preacher or so-called preacher uh, down there, and I don't know. I just hope the Democrats just don't take over again in the Senate. I mean, they got the majority right now by one, and if we can get back, if we can get a hold of that, and the one that scares me too, the one the crazy one to me is Dr. Oz and this Fetterman guy. This Fetterman guy had a stroke. He can't even talk like you and I are talking right now. He can't even say two sentences without stumbling over his words. I mean, he definitely is mentally challenged, and they still have him up in the polls. How anybody would want to vote for this guy, and he's not even mentally fit to even be running. I mean, he had a stroke back in May or something like that, and he can barely talk. And these people are still wanting to put him in, and that means they want is a Democratic puppet. That's all that means. That means you want somebody that you can wheel out in a wheelchair and say, sign here. And that's where they sign. And that's what you got in Pennsylvania right now. Yeah. Well, yeah, he probably, but I mean, he professes to be a minister. You know what I mean, James? I mean, he's not a minister, in my opinion, either. But that's his moniker. He professes to be a minister and that sort of stuff. Yeah, well, the this guy's a wolf in sheep's clothing. He and he's a die in the wool liberal Democrat, that's for sure. And we got way too many of those trying to stuff everything. I mean, our world has gone upside down right now. I mean, when you look at Biden has got some of the craziest staffers. Uh, I mean, well, you got that Levine man, woman, whatever that is, up there running that one department, and then you've got this other uh, guy that's comes dressed in a dress, and I don't know. You've got the LGBTQ plus all that. I mean, they're a very small percentage of the populace, but in the Biden administration, they're controlling a lot. And it really is disturbing that they're putting people in charge because of their race, their religion, their you know what he's wanting to do is equity. He's not wanting quality. He's wanting to divide it up regardless who's the best qualified. And he's wanting to skew it to the left, and the craziness so bad it's pathetic. I mean all these nominees that he's brought before the Senate and everything. I mean, I see Ted Cruz and some of them going after some of these judges. I mean, just crazy people that have come down with some of the craziest rulings, and yet they're up there trying to get approved by the Senate. And they're getting approved because we got too many liberal Democrats up there. And if we can get that balance back, maybe we can stop some of this, get some of these people repealed, something. I don't know. It's we need to get the balance back. That's for sure. At least get started on it. Oh, I know. Well, yeah, that Warnock is nowhere near what MLK was. MLK was. I didn't agree with everything he said, but he was way better than this Warnock. I want to call him Warlock almost, but I think it's Warnock. Uh, it's it's crazy. We've got to get some of these people out of there, but we'll see. We'll see come November. I just hope and pray that we'll have a reckoning. I hope the United States is smart enough to say we can't afford $6 a gallon gas. We can't afford all this inflation that's hit us. I mean, if they'll just look around and see all the inflation, they'll see all the uh, every. I mean, just look at your pocketbook. Your if you didn't get a 20 or 30% raise this past year, you're going backwards in your pay. I mean, it's crazy. Inflation's just kicked in something terrible. Oh yeah, you can't ask them what a woman is. That they're not biologists, so they won't tell you. I mean, I knew what a woman was first time I saw one. I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know what a woman is, and I know what a person pretending to be a woman is. And we're crazy when we can't distinguish between these things. I mean, it's terrible. I mean, I, I I just don't know what we're going to do if we continue down this path. Oh, we got plenty of crazy idiots over here, Patrick. I don't know if the left is that bad over in Austria, but it's terrible over here in the United States right now. I mean, with this last election, letting Biden get in with all his crazies. I mean, I'm not scared of Biden as much as I am who Biden has put in there. I mean, the Buttigieg who's over transportation. Buttigieg wouldn't know how to get himself in a big truck, but he's in charge of transportation now. I mean, he has got zero. I mean, he couldn't even fix a pothole where he was mayor, but yet they're putting him in charge of everything in the United States over transportation, and he's an idiot. He's an idiot. But that's what Biden has done. Biden has done. He's put a gay guy in charge of transportation. He's put a gay crossover, cross dressing LBGTQ over human services or whatever it is. That Rachel Levine. I don't know what he was. Ray Levine. I don't know what he was before, but he's a man pretending to be a woman. I don't know if he's changed. He's got long hair. I don't know what all these changed body parts was, but pathetic, pathetic. He was a man for 50 something years, and now he's decided that he wants to be a woman. And these people that want to be something different, to me, right there, that shows you that that's a person that's indecisive and does not have everything, all their faculties together. They're, like a lot of people say, that's mental illness. And why are you going to let somebody like that over human resources or whatever be in charge of that? And some doctors' terms used to be that was a mental illness is what he's going through. And now you can't even say that now. By the way, the government is putting restrictions on you. Oh yeah, yep. There's the other Mike Jones. Okay, yeah, yeah. That's the Mike Jones with no relations to me. Uh, yeah, we're it's crazy. It's crazy that uh, we're like that. I mean, I just I don't know, but I sure hope everybody, and I would imagine most everybody on this channel that listens to me is probably going to try to vote right. And please do get out and vote. That's for sure. Well, you would hope they would retire, but they don't. They seem to linger on. And unfortunately, we have some in the Republican Party. Mitch McConnell, I'd like to see him get out of there. Mitch McConnell is just he's a rhino, or what they call Republican in name only. I mean, Mitch McConnell, I would hate to see. I mean, I know if we come in as strong as, uh, and the Republicans take the Senate over again, they'll put him in charge of the Senate, which they shouldn't. They should vote him out. But his seniority, it's almost a given. Oh, I know. I know she's over 80. She's over 80. Biden will be over 80 this next year. Mitch McConnell's over 80. I mean, we need some of those guys out. We don't need somebody. I'm in my 70s, and I wouldn't run. We need some strong people. We need some young minds like Ron DeSantis. I mean, Ron DeSantis is strong, and I'd love to be able to see him run as president in 2 years. I mean, I would rather him run than Trump, because at this point, I mean, Trump has good ideas on certain things, but DeSantis goes along with some of those ideas. And DeSantis, he can get things done without uh, stepping on his own toes, I guess you might say. Trump just trips his own self up by his own actions, and his he's not diplomatic enough to do things. I mean, DeSantis has got the fire and fury that Trump has, only he's a little bit more polished. He's more educated, I think. He's a smarter person and more polished, and is not so self-centered. Trump is a little more self-centered. It's a lot about Trump, and that's the one thing that turns people off. His policy, I mean, I was tickled to death that we got him in. We got the judges we needed in the Supreme Court. It was a lot about that, but they went at him relentlessly from day one, or even before day one, trying to overturn him and manipulate him and put him in a bad light immediately. And I don't think they can do that with DeSantis. I mean, DeSantis is pretty squeaky clean in comparison to Trump. So hopefully we could get somebody like that in. I don't know. Oh yeah, I saw that, Kevin. Yeah, yeah. And then the YMCA banned her. Yeah, that what he's talking about is it was a grandmother who saw this guy with a bunch some small girls, like 10, 12-year-old girls in a YMCA, and he was helping them undress and watching them undress. And he was a man. He was a full-grown man, sort of. I don't know if he was dressed in women's clothing or whatever, but he was in this locker room, and this older lady ran him out, or tried to get him run out, and then reported him to the YMCA. And what did the YMCA do? They kicked her out. They banned her from coming, and said that they had to be inclusive and everything. And it's ridiculous. I mean, that was close to child molestation. That was almost sexual abuse for those little girls. And that older lady is the only one who stood up for it. And then they kicked her out. I mean, that's how stupid, that is how stupid some of these things are going right now. I mean, that, 10, 15, 20 years ago, that person would have been arrested. Now, what do? They applaud him. Say, oh yeah, well he's of the LGBTQ plus whatever. And we got to listen to him. And that's crazy. Oh, I know. Everybody's going to have to buy their bullets and stockpile them. And yeah, we're going to need the bullets and whatever guns you got with it, and be prepared one day, because you've got too many people. When you disarm your nation, you're in trouble. I mean, it happened in Germany. They killed all the Jews. Germany took over, wiped everybody out, and killed 6 million, Jews in the concentration camps. Not 6,000, 6 million. And people need to realize that. My dad was in the 82nd Airborne, and they helped liberate some of the concentration camps. And I've told this before, and we were watching a documentary one time. They used to show them on Sunday afternoon, some of these war things, and he was watching that, and he about turned sick. And my mother asked him, so what's wrong? He said, watching that, he said, it reminded me of the smell of those concentration camps. He said, I about threw up. He said, just the smell of that, of all those dead bodies burning and rotting and everything else. They had to dig a trench. He had to get a bulldozer, and they dug a trench about the length of a football field, or 2 football fields, I think he said, and throw bodies in it. Had a mass burial over there. And it was pathetic. Yeah, I know it. Yeah, unfortunately, Austria fell quick back in. If you study your history, I mean, Austria was a good country, and then, I mean, you can even get a taste of it if you watch the movie Sound of Music, of what was happening, and how quickly the people in authority took over. And it's pathetic. You hate to think of that happening over here in the U.S., but it can happen. It could happen quickly, and I'm just scared that we're going to have the left go wacko, and they're going to ruin this country. They are trying their best right now to ruin it, and it just everything they do. Yeah, I got a rag top back here, Scott, that I could shoot out of, I guess. Yeah, this is my brother-in-law's car. We're cleaning it up and fixing it up a little bit. We're trying to stay busy. Well, I mean, when you look back at the history of Germany and see how Hitler took over, it's amazing how he took over and how he was able to convince all the German people to follow him, in my opinion. But he did it. And it's just hard to fathom that he did what he did, but he did. And that, what do you say? Hopefully it'll never happen again. No, that's a Jaguar. That is a Jaguar. I'll take the camera over here and show you. It's a Jaguar. And of course, you'll see they're Bama fans. It is a XK8. Yeah, my brother-in-law and his wife are huge Alabama fans. And so Alabama barely pulled one out last night. They were at the game. They actually bought a place down there in Tuscaloosa. Yeah, Henry Ford kept the U.S. He slowed down the progress of the U.S. He didn't want to help build tanks and everything else, so they basically, you know, they had to do the War Act because Ford didn't want to join. He had an opportunity to help build the motors and everything for some of the planes that Britain needed, and he refused to do it initially. He didn't want to have anything to do with the war effort, and then finally they had to get him in it. Yeah, Henry Ford was he basically was siding with Hitler there for a long while, and so yeah, he was not the patriot that some people think he was. I mean, he finally changed his ways, but initially Henry Ford was not the patriot. That's for sure. Well, yeah, the you know trying to yeah, a lot of people, yeah, the Jewish people uh, had their detractors, that's for sure. But you can't justify eradicating any race like that. Nobody can, and that's what Hitler did. I mean, if he didn't like what they were doing, maybe there could have been some policy against what they were doing, but to try to eradicate an entire race is just it's unthinkable, and that's what happened. I mean, you can't go out and say, "Well, I'm gonna eradicate all Baptists," and in theory, here's what we have right now in the United States. You have the left right now that is trying to demonize Christians, the people that are born again Christians and everything else, people that have Christian beliefs. The left is trying to demonize them. Well, all people can be hateful people. I mean, we can be you can be zoned off into everything. I mean, everybody, we get demonized as Southerners. I'm a Southerner, and a lot of people demonize. They want to call us the rednecks, the Confederates, the all kind of stuff like that. And even though my generation had nothing to do with any of that, and even my parents' generation, but because your heritage comes from people that fought for the South and everything, we're bad people in a lot of people's eyes. Yeah, that people, regardless of what you believe, a race of people are like. I mean, it's sort of funny when you think about uh, the Europeans, how how I guess they mingled with their own so much. I mean, you had a Jewish community, you have the different Slavic nations, your Swedish, you know, all the different sects. Uh, it's really kind of crazy. You're Hungarian, you're Polish. I mean, for years over here, you'd have a Polish joke where people would make fun of Polish people, and it was Polish or Polak, whatever. But it's crazy how people, uh, you know, try to demonize and try to make one race better than the other, and that's in a nutshell. I think. I mean, some people think if you tear down one particular race, that your race is superior. It may be dominant, but it may not be. I doubt it's superior, and that's what you get sometimes. Yeah, yeah, it's yeah, common sense is and that's what I think is one of my best attributes is I try to be a common sense person. I don't try to be an intellectual. Sometimes you can get. I always like to remember what my grandpa used to say, and he would say, "Don't mind that person. He's educated way beyond his intelligence." And I used to think when I was little, "What's Grandpa talking about?" And then you realize he's talking about the person may be educated in books. He may be educated on what you would call a traditional education. But as far as common sense, he can't get out of a shower of rain sometime. Uh, it's the old story. I mean, you find somebody like this is a highly technical car, and you can have an engineer that drives it. But if that car breaks down, that engineer can't fix it. He would have to take it somewhere where it was engineered and then have it fixed. Just because he's a highly educated person does not mean he's got common sense and can work on this car. And that's what you get so many times. You get people that are highly educated, maybe in a specific field, but they're not diverse enough throughout their education that they would have enough common sense to change a tire or check a spark plug or do anything on this mechanical machine. And yeah, yeah, that's probably true that there's some people that can't even lace up their shoes, Jamie. Of course, here I am guilty of it. I'm wearing loafers today. I wear my Skechers because they're easy to get in and out of. And people are just not gonna. I mean, it's crazy to think, and this is one of the things that's hurting, I think, so many people and making people mad is this college relief that they're doing right now. They're trying to say all these people that have this college debt, they're going to relieve you of your college $10,000 of it, and who's going to end up paying for it? The American people, probably 70 or 80% of the people didn't go to college. So, I went to partly to college. I don't have any college debt, never did. I paid for what I could afford. And I went 2 or 3 years to college, but I paid for it. And, you got all these people now that go out and take out huge loans and they can't pay it back. So then now they're begging us to pay for their loan. Well, if I go out and buy a fancy Jaguar and I can't afford the payments on it, is the government supposed to pay for this thing just because it's making my budget tight? No. Well, that's the same way. If you incurred the debt, you need to pay your own debt. I don't need to pay your loan. And that's what is happening right now. And the Biden thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread by going ahead and making that. So the common man is going to have to pay for the college education. Get out and vote, people. I tell you, get out and vote. Let's get some of these idiots out of there. We got about 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks before we vote. Please get out and vote intelligently and not let these idiots stay in power. Let's at least get rid of let's take the Senate and Congress back over. I think we will the Congress. The Senate's the tough one right now. I mean, it's teetering on. It can go either way, but I sure hope the intelligent people of the United States will decide to look at this thing and let's get rid of some of these ultra liberals. Let's get rid of them right now. Yeah. Well, if you've already voted, Walter, you've already done early voting. Yeah. I can't think of a Democrat that I'm gonna vote for. I'm registered independent. I could vote in any primary I want that way. I'm unaffiliated is the way I'm registered now. Uh, For years I was registered as a Democrat, but that the Democratic Party changed. I mean, it totally changed in the past, uh, especially in the last 20 years. It went so far left, it's pathetic. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're screwed up right now. We are totally, totally screwed up. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, it's about as messed up as my hair. It's about as messed up as my hair right now. I mean, my hair doesn't know which way it wants to go. That's about the way the nation is right now. Yeah. Well, right now we need to vote for to get some of these liberals out of there because they are ruining the nation. I mean, ruining it. I mean, I can from the transportation department, health services, the energy late. Oh God, I want to strangle her every time I see her. And for the I mean, Biden jumps out there the very first day, shuts down the pipelines. He cuts these oil leases. He stops fracking, and then all of a sudden now we're in bad shape for oil. Saudi Arabia, help me. Venezuela, help me. Help yourself. Go out there. I mean that's like somebody taking their garden that they've grown all summer long and just running it over with your tractor and destroying it and then asking your neighbor to help feed you. And that's what we're doing. That's exactly what we've done. We had all the opportunity in the world to, protect ourselves and feed ourselves. But what do? Biden shuts it down, he destroys it, and then he begs everybody else to give him what he already had. Now that makes 0 sense. Makes 0 sense. Well, hey, Nevs Nova. Right. My son did the same thing too. My son has a double major, and he it took him 7 years, but he paid off his student loan, and he did it himself. Now, are they going to pay him back for his student loan? No. He did the right thing. He paid it off. He worked overtime to pay off his student loan, and took he took it upon himself that was his number one priority to do that before he bought anything else big and expensive. But these other people, they go out and they want to get, as soon as they get out, they want to continue on their rich lifestyle, and then can't pay off their student loan. Yeah, well, that's true. The same way. Yeah, growing a garden and then stealing from a restaurant. Yeah, well, I tell you, there's so many crazy scenarios out there right now. It's pathetic. Hey, Dirt Boss. Well, I wish I could help y'all out in New York State. Uh, y'all got a bunch of crazies up there. That Governor Holcomb that you've got right now, she's about as nutty as a fruitcake, isn't she? And y'all have got to contend with her. The problem is everybody out in rural New York has the right idea of doing things, and then all the crazies down there in New York City, they control everything. They control Albany, don't they? And that's a pathetic situation. Everybody needs to. If you want to get, everybody wants to have a good day. I don't know how many people are on Dirt Boss's channel, but they're on here. Everybody ought to go check out Dirt Boss. He's got a great channel. I'm entertained by watching him. He's a great operator of equipment. Does 90% of it himself, and was able, he's able to uh, be very entertaining with what he does. Got a great channel. Everybody help him out. His channel's really growing good too. And get on there and give him a thumbs up and help his channel grow. Yeah, I know it though. That's yeah. We got to get Lee's. I don't know how good he'll do against her. There's so daggum many liberals in New York City that just kind of control everything. Oh, I know. Yeah, YouTube is a struggle, and you know, and Mike puts out great content. Like I said, I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, it gives me relaxation to watch that because he's doing things that I used to be able to do, but now that I'm physically not as able because of my heart condition and everything, I kind of watch him and I watch Chris Soap that's down here in North Carolina on Let's Dig 18 and you know I love watching good operators of equipment and everything and people that have got great ideas. I mean, it's to me it's relaxing. I can watch Mike puts out his stuff at night, and I'll click on it and watch it, and I can hear that equipment, and I can fall asleep watching, hearing the sound of his equipment. I mean, that's how soothing it is to me sometimes. Not that to say I fall asleep watching your videos, Mike, but the sound of the equipment will soothe you a lot of times. I mean, that's if you've ever been an operator of heavy equipment, you know what I'm talking about. There's nothing sweeter than being out on a big dozer, and of course, when I used them, everything was open air. I didn't have many closed in cabins and everything, but you know, being out on a big dozer, you know, a big D6 or something like that, uh, and hear those engines roar. I mean, it's just a sweet sound, and to hear the power in those things, and to feel the power. I used to love to. You love to feel the power when you run up on something and you can hit a big pile of dirt or something, and you just get you can. That's a fun feeling, and I enjoy that. And of course, I had a dresser. I had a dresser. What was that number? I can't remember. A dresser loader. It was a nice little loader, and it had a sweet sound to it. Yeah. Well, I don't think that's going to happen, James. I think we tried that about 150 years ago. Uh, I don't know how we're 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 so divisive and everything now. It's crazy. Uh, I would like to see us. I'd like to see us turn the tide, though. We're going to have to do it state by state by state, and the problem is we get all these big metropolitan areas, and they control a lot. I mean, you got L.A. They control California, L.A. and San Francisco. New York City controls New York. I mean, think about it. The state is a nice, beautiful state, but then you've got that. No offense to people like New York City, I don't like it. I don't like big metropolitan areas. To me, they're nasty. They're ugly. I don't like them. I'm a country boy. I like being out in the countryside, and I mean, you get out to New York State, and it's a beautiful state out there when you get away from New York City. Uh, you know, all the other areas are nice, and but you right there in the filth of New York City just drives me crazy. Drives me crazy. I don't want to. I don't even want to go near those big cities. I mean, and especially now with the crime. I mean, it's it is it's as dark to me as some of these cartoons and uh, all these old movies and everything. What was that one? Escape from New York City or Escape from New York. Uh, you know, the crime has gotten so bad in those places. That's a reality now. That's not a made up vision of that. That's a reality. And I can't imagine wanting to live in those high rises and all those places. And I'd be scared to death to walk outside, afraid that I'd be mugged. I mean, think about it. What's going on in Chicago, where you got people, gangs of young boys coming up and just hijacking your car and everything right in your front yard and taking off and shooting you and everything. I mean, it's pathetic. I don't want to be in a place like that. Think about it. All right, the dark spot when you raise the doors and where the exhaust pipe, that's exhaust from that. Somebody was doing something one day, and they'd raise the door, and when they was revving up the engine, that was exhaust fumes. What that was. So, so yeah, that's the high definition to show you that. Of course, now the other door doesn't have it on it. We don't have it on the other door, but we do have it on that door. But this one, we used to service more in this particular lane, and of course that's the stack was on this side. I guess when they pulled it in or whatever, and they were servicing it, and they had the door up. We serviced so many things with the door up. You know, when we were doing all these trucks and everything, that's what we were doing. And over the years, I've just never cleaned it off, Mike. That's I guess I should clean it off so it wouldn't look so bad. But that's what that was. And some of it may have been, I don't know if that's been smeared or not, but I need to get up there and probably put some the pressure washer or something on it. But that's one of those things. It's dried, it's dark, it's not hurting anything. Yeah, that's exhaust fumes. Yeah, it's from a DD-15 probably too. It's probably a DD-15, and one of them that's been, you know, I don't know, but yeah, that's been like that for several years. Well, thank you, James. I hope you have a good week too. Gosh, I've been on here a good while myself today, just running my mouth about everything, and enjoying communicating with everybody. And I hope everybody's going to be doing well this week. I've got a busy week ahead too. I got to my grandson's got a lot of stuff going on. Got to get out there and support my grandson. He's doing real well in school and in soccer and everything. So I've got to do that. Well, guys, I think I will. I think I'm going to shut her down for this morning. I've enjoyed it. Enjoyed seeing everybody in here. Hope everybody does well, gets out there and works hard this week. And I'll catch y'all next week for sure. And if I can get enough energy myself, I'm going to get out and do some videos too. I keep saying that, and I know I'm lazy about that, guys, but sometimes I do so many things I don't have time. And Mike will tell you, it's tough to get out there and do videos. I applaud Mike for being able to do as much as he can do with his dirt boss. I mean, it's tough. All right. Well, I appreciate it, guys. I'll see you around and see you at least next Sunday if I'm still here. All right, guys. Take care. See ya.